English viewers, please.
Yes, he would like to know the meaning and the background of this verse from the Holy Quran he just recited.
Which?
It's in Surah Saba.
Read the translation.
Yes.
Because the English-speaking people may not understand it.
Yes.
Surah Saba.
Yes, this is it. Yes. So the English translation of this verse is, and when we decreed his, that is Solomon's death, nothing pointed out to them that he was dead save a worm of the earth that ate a wash.
His staff.
His staff. I see, that's a misprint. That ate away his staff. So when he fell down, the jinn plainly realized that if they had known the unseen, they would have not remained in a state of degrading torment.
This is a very important verse which is differently translated and interpreted by the Orthodox mullahs and Ahmadis. In fact, the way they translate it is an insult to the wisdom of God and to the honor of the Prophet Solomon himself. According to their understanding of this verse, the staff was a real stick. And when Hazrat Sulaiman died, out of fear that the jinn who were working in the factories, if they knew of his death, they would rebel. Out of that fear, the people at the top around Hazrat Sulaiman decided that he should be moved on to the balcony, a dead body, where he should be made to lean over his staff, so that whenever the jinn passed through that castle, they look at that balcony and say, Solomon is still alive. And they never take notice of how many days he keeps leaning on that staff, always standing there. Either the jinns are extremely stupid, or the mullahs are. There is no third option. First translate this bit and then I'll build the remaining bit by bit. Now they say the staff on which Hazrat Sulaiman was leaning all the time, day and night, on his balcony, it was being eaten by worms from below upwards, until when it became just dust, or shall we say, like filing of iron. So the wood, when you saw it, becomes small, burada, we call it. So until the staff which was being eaten by these worms, that became hollow and could not withstand the load of Hazrat Sulaiman. Then along with the staff, Hazrat Solomon fell. What a stupid and so insulting scenario. A prophet of God of such great status, he fell down as a dead body and was kept alive, and for how long the body of Hazrat Solomon remained without tafun, without decay. All these are factors which make the story impossible. Then the falling of Hazrat Sulaiman, can any mullah do this to his own father? Can he make him stand leaning on his staff like this? This is extremely stupid and extremely insulting to the honor of the Holy Prophet, of the Prophet Hazrat Sulaiman. So what is that? What is the meaning of this? And another point you should remember is that the castles like that of Solomon cannot be viewed from the streets below. They're huge castles with big walls. It's impossible to conceive of a castle of Solomon which was observed by the passing people along the streets. And they have also taken it for granted that the path of the jinn where they resided and the place where they worked, it happened to pass along the path of that castle. So every time from their residence, there were marched file which marched towards the factory. And every time saw the Solomon said, look, he's still there. While prior to that, he was never seen there. It's impossible to describe the stupidity of this story. What is the alternative? Let him finish the translation and then I'll turn to the alternative. Now remember that the staff of a king is a sign of his sovereignty. Staffs of kings are always signs of their sovereignty. And Dabbatul Ard is the son of Hazrat Sulaiman, who was not worthy of running his empire with proper order like his great father did. Why? Because he was Dabbatul Ard. Hazrat Sulaiman was a godly person. His great empire did not spring from his own personal worldly qualities. He was bestowed this great empire because he loved Allah and Allah loved him. So he had a son like we have sometimes here. The children of some pious people become worldly people. So out of the great empire in which this boy was brought up, he naturally, according to the Quran, moved away from religion and only enjoyed being the son of a great king. So he became a worldly person. And it is the same boy who is referred to in the Holy Quran, وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيِّهِ جَسَدًا. What is that jasad? This boy who is empty of spirit. And again, mullahs do extreme injustice to Hazrat Sulaiman by misinterpreting this verse as well. Kursi also is the sign of power, of sovereignty. Read Ayatul Kursi and you'll understand the meaning of Kursi. So Asa and Kursi both are the signs of wisdom and are signs of power and majesty of the king. The throne and the Asa. Kursi is throne and Asa is the sign of, as I said, all kings have Asa as their sign of their sovereignty. So both persons are the same. The mullahs say that Allah tried Hazrat Sulaiman by putting on his chair a girl of rotten character. And Hazrat Sulaiman failed in that trial. I don't understand what sort of Anbiya they think they were, whom Allah loved and Allah chose for being his messengers. The medieval ulama who are commanding the world of Islam today have done the greatest damage to the world of Islam, much greater than the enemies could do. This is their tafsir. So now you can relate both things together. And the history fully supports this. The fact is that for a long time, after the death of Hazrat Sulaiman, the jinn who were of fiery nature, people from great sturdy people from mountains, who were chained and put to service by Hazrat Sulaiman, for a long time after his death, they did not realize that any real change in the government had taken place. Until his son ruled for a while, and he ruled so stupidly against the interest of the state and against the traditional majesty of Hazrat Sulaiman, that during his empire the entire state got disintegrated. When the people who were enslaved by Hazrat Sulaiman realized that things have changed, now you can rebel against his successor and he can't suppress you. Then they did. And this is exactly the history of Hazrat Sulaiman's times and what happened afterwards. According to the Old Testament, all the decay and disintegration of his great empire took place during his son's rule, until nothing was left and new dynasties took over. This is the true meaning of this verse. Please.